Hey y'all, it's your girl Byrd, and welcome to another segment of Bird Talk, where we are here to create, we are here to connect, and we are. And my playback is happening. That's hilarious. So I have my playback set to make sure that things are working properly, and y'all just heard the echo in the background. But yeah, y'all, welcome to another segment of Bird Talk. Again, where we are here to create, we are here to connect, and we are here to build. There is nothing like being an artist, being a writer, being a creative, and having community so that we are able to be our best selves and really, really grow. For those of you who don't know, this is put on by Byrd's World. And Byrd's World is really designed to be a space that inspires and empowers individuals through creativity. And so we use that creativity to amplify spaces. We use it to really cultivate community, like I was talking about earlier. And we really use it to encourage curiosity. I think the older that we get, the more that we are told that our imaginations and our curiosity it needs to be in a specific place, and really bringing that into various amounts of spaces allows us to be our best selves. So I want to be able to create space for that. Hey, Cece, I see you. Welcome to the space. Today will be a shorter segment. So the way I really want to be able to set this up for you all is every other week I will have a guest. And first of all, let's back up. If y'all were not with us last week when the beautiful, illustrious, amazing Mallory Raven Allen Backstrom was here with us to lay down some of the most delicious nuggets, y'all missed it. So make sure y'all go back and tune into last week's segment. We just had so much fun sharing the space together. So every other week I will have a guest in the space with us to kind of talk about their journey, talk about, how they got to where they are, and really lay some like bird seeds on y'all so that you can take that and run with it and do with it as you please as you're out in this world creating. On the weeks that I don't have a guest, I really want to use this time to be able to connect with you all, find out what you all need, find out how I could be of assistance to you all, and in the process, share a piece of myself with you all. My word for 2021 is to be visible. And what better way to be visible than to show up on a weekly basis and be of service to you all. So with that, today I really wanted to talk about process. And I feel as if it's come up a lot for me in the past week. A lot of people have been asking, how do I get started writing, and how do I journal? And once I'm in this journaling space, how can I use what I am writing and turn it into a piece? And so I thought a little bit about that, and because it's come up a lot over the past week, really wanted to designate a time to talk more about process and what that looks like. And the importance of it actually for you all. And so last week, for those of you all who joined us for the Byrd's World 5-day Writer's Mindset Challenge, one of the things that we talked about is process. Do you have a process? What does that process look like? What works for you? And I think a way to think about it is, in order for you to be able to master a skill, right? Or just be the best that you can be in the moment, is to be able to practice. I joked last week about, for those of you all who know that real famous video clip that was going around, probably like 20 years ago now, of Allen Iverson, and they were getting on him because, he ain't showed up to practice. And he's like, practice? Practice? I'm going to get in trouble for practice, not a game, but practice. And I think the point that he was missing, at that moment, right, was how important practice really is to the games. And when you're a writer, practicing and being in that space and making a commitment to yourself to write on a consistent basis is going to prep you for those moments where you get to show up and show out. So two things that I think is really important when we start talking about how do you show up for yourself and how do you develop a process as a writer. It's twofold, to be honest. There's that output that you have as a writer, so that continuous space that you provide for yourself to be a writer, to journal, to just be in the moment and really allow yourself to be in a stream of consciousness moment without it being anything that needs an end goal. So, right, it's that output, but you also have the input. You also have the space where you should be learning in order for your output to shift. So what I mean by that is not only are you journaling, but you are also active in being a reader. What articles are you reading? What books are you reading? Who are some of your favorite authors? And how can you take the things that you really admire about their work and use it to your own advantage so that you're able to incorporate it into your own work? And I don't mean, copy, right? But how can you put your own little stank on it? How can you put your own little magic on what you admire about your favorite author and pull that into your own work? So with that, I want to just focus right now on the output and kind of how I approach the process with the output. So one of the things that I do is I've put in a practice for myself to make sure that I am writing almost every day. Don't get me wrong. There are days where I am extremely tired. And then I slap myself on the wrist and I pick it right back up. But I get into a habit of writing every day. So, being able to set yourself up and set your space up so that you feel calm and collected and in a space that allows you to trust the process and be in the moment of writing. One of the things that I do is I am really big into scents and smells. And I really believe in cleansing and what cleansing can do for just your mind reset, right? So I go throughout my day burning sage, especially anytime that I leave my space and come back into my space, or I just need a reset. I have loose leaf pieces of sage that I burn, and I really love the smell of sage, and it allows me to, when I take that smell in, to kind of reset my brain. And then I also have my Palo Santos, and with that, I am able to, once I have cleansed the space, be able to set my good intentions with Palo Santos. I am also a huge fan of incense. I think that I don't even know. I just have a really strong connection to incense. And so this is a packet that I bought a while ago that lasted me a long time. Yes, it is called Black Woman, and it smells absolutely amazing. And there is something about the scent that reminds me of like my mama's home and my grandmother's home. So it really puts me in a space that allows me to produce, especially during this time, because I'm currently working on a book that revolves around my childhood and my mother and my grandmother and how they influenced my upbringing and who I am today. And so smelling that's just magical. There isn't a better way to set my time, to start writing than to have these three components. And I don't do them all at once. It depends on how I feel when I wake up in the morning. So do I feel as if I need a cleanse? And if I need a cleanse, I burn my sage. If I feel or have, if I woke up in a really, really good spirits and want to put that spirit out into the room, I burn my Palo Santos. If I just need something to kind of keep me going throughout my day, I burn my incense. So it's all about listening to your body and finding the best method that works for you. After I cleanse my space and set my space up, I definitely get my tea or my water set so that I don't have to go anywhere while I am writing. And then I find my favorite pen. Yes, I have favorite pens. And there's something about a connection to pens that write the way you want them to write, or any sort of utensil. I prefer the thicker pens that have the padding on it. There's something about the grip and the glide that I really appreciate. And so I find a pen that I really rock with, a journal that I am consistently writing in, And then I sit down and I really embrace two forms of writing. And it depends on what sort of space you're in, right? I really embrace brainstorming. I am all about the brainstorming. Me and sticky notes have a love affair that you all will never understand. I remember being in a space and someone told me about super sticky notes. Yes, those are real. Super sticky notes, y'all. So I keep sticky notes in variety of colors because I'm also a visual learner, and so the color coordination really helps my brain. And then I have maps, so I mind map a lot. So I really, really embrace that idea of mind mapping while I am creating. And then I also just dive right in and just embrace the journey of journaling. And when I say embrace the journey of journaling, I truly mean diving in and not apologizing for anything that I'm writing, and really being truthful to myself as I am writing, right? So with, not apologizing, I am not the best speller. I have admitted that. Spell check has been the death of me. I used to be a pretty decent speller when I was a kid. And then words got harder and the English language is rude. So the older I got, the more spelling became a little bit more of a difficulty for me. But as I am writing, I don't have spell check. So I'm not going to worry about whether or not I'm spelling a word correctly. Or if my grammar is on point, or my sentence structure is right, or if what I meant made sense. Like, I'm letting all of that go and allowing myself to truly dive in and just write. Sometimes I am a scatterbrain. For those of you all who know me, I can be all over the place with my thoughts, but there is a reason why I am all over the place, because it'll then eventually lead me back to where I'm going. So while I am journaling, I allow my brain to go in different places. So for instance, I might wake up and start talking about a dream that I had where a unicorn jumped off of a waterfall and into, I don't know, a bucket of Skittles. My imagination is really wild, y'all, especially when I'm dreaming. So I might start off with this unicorn jumping off of a waterfall into a bucket of Skittles, but then that might lead me into something that revolves around color, and why having a lot of colors around me really helps my brain work. Why does it help my brain work? So I just allow that to unfold, or I might just completely skip and go to something completely different. But I really embrace the process of journaling. And with that, especially when I'm writing pieces, instead of walking into a moment and saying, I'm going to create a poem and it's going to be perfect, that's a lie. And I think a lot of us are intimidated with the idea of writing the first draft of your poem and it's going to be everything that you've ever dreamed of. It's not. Just accept the fact that it's not going to be everything that you dreamed of, but you are on the right path to get you to where you need to be, right? So for me, I write, I journal, I brainstorm, and then from the brainstorm and the journaling, I find what are the golden nuggets that are within that piece of writing. Maybe there's a line that stuck out to me and I was like, oh, that's what I'm trying to write about. I allow myself to go down that path and really guide myself through the writing process. Because if I open up and say, I want to write a poem about X, Y, Z, or I want it to end this way, that way, one, I'm not being truthful to myself and I'm not allowing myself to trust the process. But two, I'm shortchanging myself because there's no way I can predict what an ending of something is going to be. So allow myself to just be in the moment, right? So one of the things that I want you all to kind of think about is, what is your writing practice? What is your process as you write? Because I think it's really important to have a recipe for your own success and what really works for you as you are moving through this space of being a writer. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and it can change over time. But the important thing is that you start really thinking about how can you set yourself up for success while you're moving through the writing process. I really take pride in my process because I found out what works for me. And because I now know what works for me, I'm able to walk into the room or sit down in a chair or pull out a piece of paper and a pen and know I am on my way to creating something that will eventually be something that I am proud of. So, one of the things I definitely want you all to think about is what is your recipe for your success as you kind of move through this space, and make the commitment to yourself to be dedicated to that process. Um, Obviously, understand things happen, things come up, but how can you get back on track? What works for you? How can you set up accountability to make sure that you are doing what you need to do, right? So if we need to have a conversation together and be like, yo, Byrd, I need you to check in on me to make sure I'm writing. Actually, Cece, who was just on here, um, I feel like I need to follow up with you, right? Because it's a project that she's working on, and she was like, "Hey, just check in with me every month on the 23rd to see how far I've gotten." Right, and so that's something to just think about as you are moving through and discovering who you are as a writer, as an artist, as a creative. It's really dedicating time to work through these things. Um, I'm trying to think if there anything in particular that my mind is also thinking about right now. Yeah, I think like consistent, just being consistent. That consistency is really, really key. Um, and through that consistency, you'll be able to grow and find what you need in order to move forward. Um, I am also open to questions. So if at any point you watch this, whether it is through the live or it is you catch this later on, if there are specific questions that you have around starting the process of writing, and what that looks like for you all, in particular, like based on your own skill set, based on the things that you want to accomplish, hit me up. Let me know. We can schedule a call to kind of see what things look like for you. I love being able to take ideas that are way off in another universe and find a way to make them happen, right? And it's all about going through that discovery process, mind mapping, right? Turning ideas into reality is something that I really, really get excited about. It's the catalyst in me that allows me to kind of help jumpstart ideas that people have and allow them to see them as possible. I just get super, super excited about it. So um, that's all that I have for today. I just kind of want to talk about the beginnings of what sort of my process looks like before I get down to a finished product of anything. It's all about how do you set yourself up for success, and how do you set yourself up mentally to be in the space to know what your end goal is so that you're able to move forward. Next week, I am excited because speaking of process, I actually had a call last week with one of my friends, Rosalind, and she's working on a project that I am stoked to kind of dig in and dive through with her to figure out how she is able to really tell her story in a way that feels good for her. And so you get a little bit of a taste of what my process looks like when I work with someone. And then also you get to learn a little bit more about Rosalind, who you all will see is an amazing, amazing human, and is constantly figuring out ways for her to have a positive impact on the world so that people are able to find their voice, and really tell their story. So it's all about collaboration in this space. It's all about community. So I'm super excited for you all to join us next week, so that we can kind of walk through that. If at any point you all have questions for me, feel free to pop questions in the chat. I will be around to answer those. And like I mentioned, for your task for this week is really to think about your process and what does that process look like for you. You need at any point to kind of walk through what that looks like or the possibilities of what that looks like, hit your girl up. We can definitely brainstorm, together to make sure you are getting the most out of what you're producing in this moment. So I truly, truly, truly appreciate you all for being in this space with me today. And I can't wait for us to grow in the future and really be able to build off of one another. So, with that, I definitely want to let you all know that I see you. We move through this world so often where we are at times ignored. And I know what that feeling is like. And so, if no one has told you this week, I am telling you that I see you, Hummingbird. And I know that you are constantly in spaces that are changing the world. And I'm proud of what you are doing. I want to encourage you all to keep exploring, keep creating, and as always, keep fun.